morning, everyone, and welcome to the final day of the NHS Project Futures Festival 22. It's been a whirlwind of a festival so far, and make sure you're ready for this one because we have another fabulous day for you, really packed. So make sure you've got your drinks and your snacks all ready to go. Before we get into our first session this morning, just a quick update. You'll have seen what's happening today in terms of the sessions, but bear in mind also that it's the last chance to get your game code points in. It's fiercely competitive again. You know, we've got a strong lead at the moment. So the game will be closing at 2 p.m. sharp. So any codes after that, it's too late. So we need to have time to get ready for the award ceremony starting from 3 o'clock. And on that point, don't miss out on the last session of the day. We've moved it forward a bit so everybody can hopefully join us. And it's been such a packed event that we really want you to come along, relax, have some fun, do some of the things Carol was talking about yesterday, and get chilled out and revitalized, ready for having a great weekend and taking some of the learning back and applying it from next week. So do come along and join us and have some fun. The quiz this time, there's always a pub quiz, and this time it's in the Leaky Cauldron, I do believe. So any Potter heads out there, here's your chance to come and answer the quick quiz questions there. So do join us and have a fantastic day. Get your game codes in and make the most of this final day. So in the chat, tell us what your highlight's been so far of the festival, if you attended other sessions, and if this is your first one, get ready and to get involved. So to introduce my co-host for this morning's session, Henry Wilson. He is from UCLH, and we're going to take you through an update on the NHS Project Futures function and the programme of work that we've all been collectively working on and everybody's volunteering towards, and where we're going with it next. So morning, Henry.
Good morning, Joe. It's great to be here again, and I'm looking forward to the final day of this amazing week that everyone has been part of.
So to get everybody going, the first thing I want you to do is to go into the polls on the right-hand side and answer our first question. We're going to come back to the results later on, but we'll throw some poll questions in as we go so we can get some feedback from you. As usual, we've got the chat function, so do get in, say hello, talk to each other, share what your hopes are for the session, and also ask your questions in the Q&A. We're very tight for time, so we're probably only going to be able to manage 2 or 3 questions, so get yours in early so people can upvote it. There's a whole load of resources and information below the screen if you scroll down, some really critical to this session. So whilst you're listening, do you have a chance to just have a quick flick through that as well? So without further ado, get that first question answered while we go on to the first bit of the session today. So for those of you that are new to this, and apologies for those that have been around for a long time, the Project Profession Programme is a collaborative across Department of Health and Social Care, the arm's length bodies, and now NHS organisations. And we're hoping to grow that so that it becomes holistically supportive of the whole health and social care sector. But to date, we have worked really hard to develop some core functionality for the community, and including a lot of resources that are currently available. We'll talk a little bit more about those in a second. And the aim of the programme, the Project Profession Programme, is to develop the profession in health and social care, supporting the aims of the government project profession coming out of Infrastructure and Projects Authority. And it's all about making project and change management much stronger, much more capable, and much more recognised and credible in sectors all across the public sector. So in terms of where we go, there's some critical challenges facing the healthcare sector and many other sectors, but very much so coming out of COVID for healthcare. And where we have the ability, the skills, the knowledge and the experience to come together and support the system is going to be really critical going forward. We have COVID recovery. We have the 6 million patients on the elective waiting list that need treating. We've got delivery priorities coming up for 22-23, and we've got longer term financial sustainability for the NHS. And all of those are all critical to the whole function delivering going forward. And we all play a really critical role in that. But do we have the right workforce? Do we have the right number of people with the right skills in the right place to be able to do that? We know there's a real shortage at the moment, but there's a lot we can do to support the profession to grow and to develop and to support it going forward. We've had a really, really successful year. And apart from the events and working with everybody, the working groups that we've had, we put forward the programme, and the team that has been delivering it to the APM Awards. We were lucky to be finalists. We were picked at the post by a social care team. We'll get them to come and do a case study sometime, and the main things that they've done as well. But it was a fantastic event, and we really recommend, following up from Adam Bodison's mention yesterday of the awards, if you've got a really great programme out there that's really making a critical difference, do think about putting in for an APM award. There were other healthcare teams there who were taking theirs forward, and the overall winner was, in fact, Department of Health and Social Care for a project they were doing. So do think about that. So in terms of the resources we do have and what you're familiar with and what you understand that we've got available, we've got the community site, we've got the capability framework, which looks at creating some consistent job areas, some competencies, training and development, and also skills levels progression. And that links to the work that Fiona Spencer was talking about on Wednesday around the developing skills levels across government in the project to change profession. So that's all in the capability framework, which is also included in the set of documents below. We have online subscription to the AXELOS Best Management Practice Guides. We've got a really, really great working group that's developed an EDI management plan, and we're looking to roll that out with engagement from across our volunteer community across the coming year. We also have our regular newsletter update that we send out. So if you're not registered on that, do let us know, we'll add you to it. Obviously, we've got the events, but also we've got very critically the regional networks. And this is about bringing everybody together to collaborate, to network, to share challenges, to share resources, to share information. And together we will collectively make both the profession stronger and the healthcare sector stronger. And working with other organisations and other sectors to learn from them and to share with them, everybody benefits from it. It's all for the greater good. So the more we can connect and collaborate, the better off the whole system is. So coming on to poll 2, which of the resources are you planning to use? So you might not have heard of them before, you might be aware of them now, or you might not have had the chance. So which ones do you think you will really get benefit from by using in the future? So if you can just answer that poll question for me, and we will build on that as we go. I'm rushing through some of this because we've got some really key information to share with you, and we want to make sure we've got time for Q&A at the end. So for now, what I'll do is I'll pass back over to Henry, and Henry's going to talk to you a little bit about some of the things that we've developed so far and where they're at.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Joe. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Henry Wilson. I am Head of Transformation at University College London Hospitals. I'm also the Project Futures Network Lead for London. And as I have mentioned before on previous events, I am a fully fledged, self-confessed Project Futures geek. And having watched Eddie Obeng's talk earlier on in the week, I think I might also be what he described as a weirdo. So this is going to become as a shock to some of you, I'm sure, but I am one of those strange people that loves to do things differently, loves to change, loves to innovate. It's why I work in transformation, but crucially, it's also why I am part of Project Futures. I woke up this morning and didn't feel as prepared as usual for today, but there's a reason for that. And Joe illustrated some of the challenges that we all face across health, social care, and other sectors in the public domain, and more broadly across the whole country. And that's why I personally need Project Futures more than ever, and the support that it provides to me, my team, our organisation, and all the colleagues that we work with as part of this amazing team. I have tried to make time for the festival this week, and what a terrific show it's been so far. Such incredible, insightful, inspirational sessions. And one thing that really, really struck me is how inclusive it's been as well. So colleagues from projects, from change, from transformation, from improvement, from strategy. We've had sessions around inclusion, how we shape change, coaching, innovation, managing crisis, data analytics, neurodynamics, risk management, and many more. And I think that's a really, really amazing evolution that's taken place as part of Project Futures, is how inclusive it has been. There is something for everyone who works in this space, and we look forward to developing that further, wrapping our arms around all of the colleagues who are trying to make the world, trying to make the NHS, trying to make social care and whichever sector you work in a better place. All in all, this is a great start to the year. And as Joe was saying, it really, really builds on the momentum from last year. So, you know, you'll have heard Joe, myself, others evangelizing about Project Futures. And Joe's going to come on to this, but we've been spending a lot of time in the last few months building on that momentum. We really, really have seen a big upswing in the number of people, the involvement in Project Futures. And we have been going around talking to senior leaders about this, because we want to and we need to make this part of our collective long-term future. So, you know, we've been into that Dragon's Den a few times. We've talked about what we're doing, why we're doing it, why we want to make this sustainable. And they agree. We have a great product. We have something that, you know, really, really brings a huge amount of benefit to a lot of people. And so I just wanted to illustrate that with a few numbers and, you know, talk to you about how the program is growing. So if we go to the next slide. So we'll start off with the low numbers. So we've got 4 national apprenticeship programs. You can see a lovely picture of Joe there with some of our project data apprenticeships. And these are brilliant because not only do they help us foster and nurture our talent, but it makes it easy for organisations to introduce apprenticeships into their teams, into their structures. And I'm going to talk about how UCLH has done that a bit later on. We've got the 11 NHS Project Futures regional networks. And so this is where you come together with colleagues locally, connect with people and, you know, people who are working on similar things, who have similar challenges in your local area. There is a very, very small slide there showing you the 11 regions and the leads. The contact details will be available as part of the festival platform. So if you haven't already spoken to your network lead, drop them a line, call them on Teams, send them an email, and get involved at a regional level. Next slide, please. So, as we said, those networks have been growing, and there's over 1,300 people involved, which is absolutely fantastic. They comprise people from 450 organisations. I was staggered when I read this. And actually, when we were creating these slides, even over the space of a few days, I kept having to increase these numbers, which kind of was showing how Project Futures is growing and expanding on a daily basis, which is brilliant because, as you can tell, we think it's amazing, and the more people who can benefit from it, absolutely, the better. We've got 449 followers on Twitter, so that's, more than me, slightly fewer than Kim Kardashian, but again, that grows on a daily basis. We also have the K-Hub, which is a central repository where we store information, the resources Joe was talking about, where special interest groups can come together, where communities can collaborate and convene. There's almost 1,000 people who are using K-Hub. And more than 2,000 of you have come to events like this. These really, really are our signature during the year. And like I was saying earlier on, it's been amazing to see everything, all the brilliant stuff that has gone on this week. Next slide. We have online training, again, something else that my own team has benefited from. So there's free training available on the e-learning for health website. More than 9,000 people have accessed this training. And crucially, I don't know about you, but I work with a lot of clinicians who have brilliant ideas for improving care for their patients. And more than a third of the people who've accessed this training are clinicians. And that's really important that we give support to people who may not do, projects, change, improvement as their day job, but we support them and we give them resources to help them understand how they can affect change, and then how we as the project and change profession then support them. And then finally, across healthcare, there are 10,000 project and change professionals we know of. We know this is growing exponentially. We know that this won't capture everyone because of, the underlying data doesn't always tell you the story of exactly what people do in the day job. But it just goes to show how many people there are out there who are working in this space. And the more we connect, the more we collaborate, the better and easier our lives become. And again, this is really, really what Eddie Obeng was talking about. And for the people who watch that, I don't know about you, but I'm definitely going to try and incorporate the 1, 2, 3, click, slap your thighs trick that he did to help people connect and collaborate where they might not be doing so quite as much as they need to at the moment. So I just also finally just wanted to say, don't just take our word for it. I asked colleagues, I looked at feedback that we've had from previous sessions, from campus events, what they thought of NHS Project Futures, what it means to them. And there's just a selection of the quotes that I think really, really resonated with me, that I found really powerful. So, there's something here about being, a family and raising the profile of the profession. People have found that it's really, really, really invaluable in terms of the resources that they can access, and part of their journey to becoming better, developing their capability and maturing as professionals. The level of engagement, as I said, it's not just about the numbers, but it's about making sure that people are aware of the things that they've got available to them, which are provided for free. Huge number of resources that you might otherwise actually be paying extra for, or unable to access, or not be able to get hold of as easily and quickly. So it's really, really great that we are seeing a growing membership base getting involved. In the Northwest, this is a really, really good illustration, just, from the network. So up in the Northwest, they're now developing a roadmap for the profession, supported by training, and crucially being seen as a strong, valuable, equal profession in its own right. Joe mentioned, our networks are growing. We have a network in Scotland now, which is incredible. And we want to continue with this trend and make sure that the whole of the UK is covered by networks. And it's brilliant to see the work that Abu has been leading up in Scotland. And just, people like it. They enjoy it. They have great discussions. They like meeting new people, connecting with colleagues, and that's what it's all about. Really, really being part of something that is enjoyable, that's accessible, and like I said earlier on, that is inclusive. And then coming to the really, really crucial bit, and that is the imminent launch of the Healthcare Project and Change Association, to make sure that we are at the forefront of projects and change. We play a really, really crucial part in recovering from, a very, very difficult 2 years and achieving sustainability, like I said, for the NHS, but, more broadly than that as well. And then I think this is the final one, and that is, we really, really want people to continue to get involved. So if there's anything more that you think that you could do, anything more that you want to do, don't hold back. Get in touch with someone, talk to them about what you're thinking, and it will be welcome and it will be embraced. And so if you are thinking, I would like to be involved, I would like to, utilize this more, but there's some barriers or blockers, then let us help try and remove those. So it would be great if you could do, this is our third and final poll. just put down, what you think some of the barriers and blockers might be, and then we can use that to continually improve what we're doing. So in a minute, we will review the results of those polls and discuss the next steps. And then just finally, I'll just spend one quick minute talking about some of the stuff that has been happening within our own organisation. I know that what I'll be talking about is happening elsewhere as well. So I mentioned the two on the right-hand side. So the apprenticeships. So UCLH was going to go and do its own procurement for apprenticeships. We found out about the national procurement. I put our procurement and apprenticeship team in touch with the national team, and we saved a shed load of work from being able to link into the national apprenticeship framework. And this was all launched during Apprenticeship Week, which was earlier on in February. And it's brilliant. In my own team, I created a new post, which is going to be a band 5, level 4 project apprentice, and we're out to recruitment. So I'm really, really excited. I've had other members of my team do apprenticeships. They're absolutely brilliant. If you haven't thought about it, you're not doing it, or you want to know more, then get in touch, because it is amazing and brilliant for supporting our staff to develop and grow. I already mentioned about the online training. And then finally, the key product that we've used is the competency framework. This is an incredible tool that the team invested a huge amount of time developing, using sort of best of breed frameworks to set out 9 domains for delivering change and projects effectively, with 81 separate competencies. And my team, and I think they might have hated me a little bit at the time, each individual went through and assessed themselves against each of the competencies, just to sort of say, well, where am I at? What is my current capability? Where could I grow? Where could I identify things that I might want to develop or do better? And the framework is just a brilliant way of understanding how you can continually improve. As I was saying, it's a struggle to do things well in the current environment. It's always difficult to deliver effectively, and even just small gains can have a huge difference as we transform, as we move forward, as we recover, as we tackle some of the really, really thorny things that are coming our way. And then more broadly as a team, we looked at, well, listen, what is our team capability? And let's identify 3 areas where we could improve and do things differently, do things better. And it was a really, really brilliant conversation. And off the back of it, we secured some additional training funding for our team most of them are doing APM qualifications. So the NHS has a corporate membership to the APM. All of the apprenticeships are based on APM competency frameworks and development. And then it enabled us to unlock something really, really beneficial for our own project professionals. So that's a quick canter through some of the ways in which that we've been benefiting ourselves. And I really, really hope and encourage that you all to do the same. Right. I think I'm going to hand back to Joe.
Oh, there's always one that's on mute, eh? This time today. Thank you, Henry. That was really great and really good insights into all the different resources that are available, and also how you've made best use of them within your organisation with your team. On the apprenticeships, we have 3 apprentices at the moment, 1 doing level 4 associate project manager, so first role in project management, and 2 doing the project data analyst apprenticeship, which is fantastic. And I tell you, if I had the time, I would absolutely do it myself. Because I've been along to 2 of the hack challenges, the 2-day hack challenges so far. And what they do in that time is absolutely amazing. And I feel like the stupidest person in the room because I haven't a clue what they're doing. But they've created some amazing things for us. And for me, there's real critical skill going forward. And that's something that we can collectively do, is to look at how we increase our skills and look at the skills for the future, and something that as we go forward, we will help to shape that, looking at what the needs are. So if we can have a look at the results of the polls and just have a look and see what people have engaged with so far. So there's a little bit of a split there in terms of the what's engaged with. So it's about 8% using Knowledge Hub, somewhere of the community on YouTube. We've got more who are engaged in the newsletter, and the newsletter is really great because that then links you into all the things that are going on, the events, the activities, updates, podcasts, and videos and things like that. About 5% in terms of corporate membership. Some of you use the Axel's Best Management Practice Guides, and about 8% again with the competence framework and capability framework and competence assessment tool. A few more of you use the online learning modules, and again, these are available for everybody. So, it's great for people who are using it for their own learning, but also share with colleagues as well. The more people we can get to have basic competence about project management, the more understanding we will have that actually it's a specialism and that people need to develop stronger skills and more competence to deliver more complex programs and projects. Regional network members, we've got about 6% in there, and apprenticeship programs about 5%. So there's a lot we can do, I think, to really get the most value. All of these things are all available to everybody who's in the NHS and probably social care as well. So if you're not from those sectors, then either central government has its own versions of most of these things, but we need to really get the value from this and to really embed it. So let's have a look at the next slide and see what people are looking to get engaged with going forward. Okay, so there's a little bit more growth in there. And I don't know whether this is splitting the percentages out in a way I wasn't expecting, but I'm hoping that people look at what they want to be able to do, what they'll get involved with, and what they'll grow in. So some of those areas are growing where we haven't had them before. And I think the thing is, make the most of all of them. They're all available. They're all part of the package of what the Project Futures community delivers. And as we go forward into the association, this is going to form a core part of what we can provide to the community as a whole. Okay, so barriers. Let's have a look at the barriers and things that are getting in the way, because that's some of the things that we can hopefully help with. So unsurprisingly, top of the list is not enough time. And again, it's one of those tricky balances, isn't it, between the pressures of the day and also being able to find time to be able to develop both yourself and look for innovations moving forward. And everybody knows the old drawing of the cart with the square wheels, and somebody showing them a nice round wheel that make it move quicker and going, no, we're too busy to innovate. But there was I can't remember who mentioned it. I think it was Stephen Carver saying about building training and development into your project plan and your project team, because there isn't time outside of delivering the project to do that. It's really critical we grow the capability as part of the delivery. We need to keep evolving as we go. And that's what's great about the apprenticeships. The thing about the apprenticeships is you are learning whilst doing. So you're applying that learning to your actual projects as you're doing it. And therefore, you can really get the learning, build on it as you go. But also being part of the community also opens your eyes and ears to other things that are available. Things that you might be thinking, well, I've got to do this. But actually, if somebody else has done it already, save an awful lot of time and effort and duplication by doing it yourself, by taking somebody else's and applying it to what you're doing. So lack of organisational buy-in. This is something, again, that I think going forward, if we can get the association established, that it will then provide a voice for the community as a whole and be able to work with senior leads across the system to be able to raise the profile, raise the credibility of the profession, but also raise the promotion of the professional nature of what we do and the skills and abilities that we want to develop. So that's something we can definitely help with. Not appropriate for my role, so this isn't necessarily for everybody. So we've got some people in here who are part of another profession. Welcome and welcome for joining us today. And I hope you're learning some really great and useful things. Not sure how to access them. Again, this is something we can really help and support with. A lot of the links are below in the information section and in the documents at the bottom. And again, I forgot they were there day to day, and we do get really busy, which is why being part of the regional network leads and the community is really important. Because if you can take a moment each month to meet with your counterparts, your network, have a refresher, find out what's going on, remind yourself that all of this great stuff is out there, because otherwise it does lead to the fact that you go, oh, I need to do this thing, and you'll just end up duplicating something that might already be a quick win and save some of that time that you don't have enough of. So I think that's a critical moment there. And I didn't know about them, but now I do. So that's really fantastic. So again, it's getting really the most value out of this and what we can do in terms of promoting it and moving it forward. So that's great. Thank you for that, and really useful insights. And just on this slide, we've got another couple of elements, which is I want you to write in the chat what is the one action you are going to take away from today and from the learning about what's available, and take that back and action it next week. That could be that you join your regional network community, that you sign up for the newsletter, that you join Knowledge Hub and find out what's there so you don't have to replicate it. Could be that you sign up for the APM and look at the resources on there, download the capability framework and assess yourself, and then think about how you're going to work with your counterparts or your team. And then the other thing is, what's the one thing we could do more of or add to what we already do that would make your role and career better? What would make your life better and easier? If you put that in the chat, we will gather that information together, and that will help us set the priorities for next year in terms of what are the really important things we're going to work on. Okay, that's great. And while you're doing that, I'm going to just take you through the next bit and where we go from here. So NHS Project Futures and the work that we've done to date has been a voluntary collaborative, and it's got an amazing community of volunteers. We really need those volunteers to keep engaging, keep working with us, keep helping to develop the profession going forward. But at the heart of it, the people who are actually really doing all of the day-to-day coordination, administration, and funding and resourcing of it, it's actually me and my team. And they're on the chat today. So we've got myself, there's Mike Gray, there's Christine Twigg, there's Jocelyn Shaw, we've got Sophie, who's a graduate, who's working with us at the moment. But that is it. That's the full team. And we do it as an add-on to the day job. And there's a real risk around this because we are based at Health Education England, and Health Education England is being merged along with NHS Digital, NHSX, with NHS Improvement to become a new whole NHS England. Now, what that's going to look like over the next sort of 12 months, we don't know. But what we do know is that we are going to have to be involved in that process for merging it. And that's going to be a time drain on us. And that puts at risk the work that we've been doing and the continuity of the Project Future stuff. But we do have a real burning passion that underpins all of this. And this is that collectively, we as project and change professionals and other professionals in here make a really, really critical difference to the long-term sustainability of the NHS and also to the benefit of patients and users. And the more we can do to develop that and to support the system as a whole with that, the more that we are going to be able to help the NHS to recover, to progress, and to innovate. And for me, where we want to get to, Henry's mentioned this already, is around getting that credibility for the profession and sustainability for the profession across the sector. The government has issued its mandate around building workforce capacity and capability. The Department of Health and Social Care has a new head of profession in Jamie Williams, who introduced Fiona Spencer on Wednesday morning. And they are writing a strategy. And that strategy is about how to support and develop the profession. But the strategy needs to be underpinned by action. And this is where we can support the profession to deliver that activity and deliver that strategy outcome across the sector to make it consistent and stable and resilient for the future. We all know there's not enough programme project resources around at the moment, that everybody is struggling to recruit and struggling to retain their staff. So part of the thing that we would be looking to do is to set up, and we are setting up the association, and the association is going to be very similar to other ones that represent non-clinical professions. So if you're familiar with the Healthcare Finance Management Association or the People Management Association, there's also an Informatics Association and digital. So nobody until now has created one for the project and change profession, and we are. And this is hopefully going to give us that firm foundation and that stability and that visibility across the system that we really need. So what's the association going to do? It's effectively a transformation. So NHS Project Futures has been really an internal collaboration. It's a voluntary community, but we need to go beyond that, because it's not just the NHS, it's social care. And it's not just England, it's the UK. And we really want an association that represents everybody, because we all have a critical part to play. And it doesn't matter whether you're delivering projects in England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. They're the same problems and they're the same professional challenges. And yet we can share resources, knowledge and intelligence and learning, and help everybody to deliver programs and projects more successfully, which is ultimately what we're here to do. So the association is going to be set up. It's going to be a not-for-profit, just like the other organisations are. We're looking for funding to help us to get it up and running. And the critical thing about it is it's going to do what Project Futures has done, but broader, better, more sustainable, and actually be able to progress more quickly. I keep describing it to people in terms of how we've done this as hopping the marathon, because we can only move as fast as the amount of time that we have to work on it. And because we're doing it as a voluntary add-on to the day job, that's not a lot of time. So what we really need to be able to progress this at pace is some resource. And to have resource, we need some funding. You know, we have people really chomping at the bit to be able to work on this full time, but we need that funding to make it happen. And the association can deliver some really amazing things. We've already got a real foundation of resources and tools and things available to us. But what we need to be able to do is be able to work with organizations, work with you, work with your teams, to be able to integrate them and embed them in the fabric of the system and the fabric of the organizations you work in. Because that's actually the hard bit. It's actually making it work in practice. So embedding the apprenticeship programs, embedding the capability framework, the job roles, looking at talent management and workforce development. So these are some of the things that we're going to be delivering as part of that academy. And in order to get there, what we've been doing is we've been looking at getting setup funding. And this is about having enough money to resource it for at least 6 to 9 months, which gets us proof of concept, which says, actually, what's the value it can bring? What are the benefits it will deliver? What's the outcomes that we can measure that will support the system going forward, that will then suggest that we get recurrent funding to support it, both from the point of view of central funding to deliver that workforce capacity and capability to the system, but also for individual organisations to see what the benefit for them is. Now, the current model is for, if you're a finance professional, then you would be an individual member of HFMA to benefit from everything they provide, but also your organisation has a subscription. It has a levy which says, actually, members of my organisation can go along to the conferences, you know, attend the events, access all the resources, and get the benefits from it. So for us to be able to not just continue to deliver it sustainably, but also to grow it, to innovate it, to add new stuff. The things we're working on at the moment are around workforce development, but also around things like setting up a graduate programme. Manon's doing a session this morning, which is around research and development. They do bursaries for PhDs. I would love to set that up. I know there's some really amazing people out there who could do some really awesome things if we had some funding and the infrastructure to support them with that research. We need this if the NHS is going to be sustainable going forward. We're very lucky. The HFMA, so Healthcare Finance Management Association, is hosting us. They're under their organisational umbrella, so we don't need to set up all that infrastructure. All we need is some funding to resource the people to work on this, to deliver this service. So in terms of going forward, we've got some organisations that have contributed so far. Henry and his organisation, his finance director, signed up saying this is a really great thing, the system needs it. So there's funding from UCLH, there's funding from NHS England, Health Education England, Health Research Authority, NHS Business Services Authority. And the thing about the seed funding is that we have about 100,000 now, and that will get us some business admin and commercial to set the infrastructure up for 6 months, but that's it. For us to be able to deliver improved events and data analytics and the evidence, we need about 250K. In order for us to deliver a full, service and association that's going to have a full team, that's going to support education and training, the regional networks, the specific interest groups, run the events and everything else more formally, then we need about 500K to fund those resources to be able to do it. And this is where we want you to help. Now, you might not be a budget holder, but you probably work for a budget holder. And we want you to do what we've done, which is go to your budget holder or your finance director and say, there's this really great thing going on. It's really going to make a critical difference to me, to the team, to the organisation. And actually, in order to get it set up, we don't need huge amounts of money. Have you got any left in the pot in order to help us get this going? And I've included in the documents below some documents that I want you to take away, to download them and to forward on. And the thing is, I went onto the Blue Peter website to look at how we could create a thermometer, because I think this is a really critical thing. This is a community action. This is not about half a dozen people doing this. This is about all of us doing this, because all of us benefit from this. So we've all got a part to play in making it happen in order to get the benefits from it. So if you can go to your budget holder or to your finance director and get some funding, I'm going to tell you how in a minute. It will add to the pot. We will see that grow. We will look at adding more capability, more resourcing, which means that we can provide a much greater service. That means that you get the benefits for your profession, for your development, for your team's development in your organizations. There's a real value to this, and it's not going to cost much to do in the big scheme of things, but the benefits are enormous. And also in proper Blue Peter style, anybody who gets their forms filled in and signed and sent back and contributes gets a certificate and a badge. How many people can say that, hey? It's fantastic. Those are very prized things, But very importantly, in order to get that, we have a document linked below, which is an outlined strategic case that sets the case for this and why it makes a difference and what value it's going to add. We've got an exec summary document that talks all about the issues, the benefits and the opportunities here. And we have an MOU with the Healthcare Projects and Change Association that says, if you contribute a small amount of funding, then you will receive all of these benefits in terms of helping to support the profession to develop, but also access to the resources for the coming year. So please could you right now download the documents. They're in the list below, near the bottom. Email your, ask your budget holder or your finance director for 10 grand. A lot of people have still got some money in the pot, and it will do them some good and it will do us some good. At least 10 grand. If they can offer a bit more, that would be amazing. Email the MOU to us, to me, to say that you have got that approval and you'll receive your badge and certificate. And also you'll be doing an amazing thing, because what you're doing is you're helping yourself, your team, your organization, but the whole project profession to develop. And this is going to be really important if we are going to help the NHS to be sustainable and help patients and ultimately improve the health outcomes of the nation going forward. So please come do your bit. So there's the contact details, and we'll have a quick Q&A. I know we've only got a couple of minutes and we're going to run over very slightly, but if we can ask a quick couple of questions, we will get the rest of the answers to you and make sure that you catch up with them. So any questions in the chat? So we've got a couple. So let's have a quick couple of looking at that. Can you update on adding project and change professional codes to ESR to be able to understand the community even more at a different level? So that's an interesting one. That's about the workforce. We actually have a workforce a work stream that we're doing at the moment, and we're looking at ESR codes, and we have effectively a pilot scheme that we're going to be testing out over the next few months, if we can find the time for it, in order to prove how we can identify project and change professionals within ESR. And that means we can do all sorts of data modeling. It means we can look at EDI data. It can look at where we've got gaps, where we've got opportunities, where we've got different skills and different levels. So that's something we're working on now, and we're going to be testing that out. If you're interested in getting involved and testing that out within your organisation, be part of the pilot, stick it in the chat, and we'll get you involved in it. So my NHS Trust has a queue system for APM qualifications. Is there a low-cost option if I decide to fund my own APM certification? Otherwise, I'm unlikely to get qualified in the next 2 to 3 years. I think there's a couple of options here. So one of the things about the apprenticeships is the level 4 apprenticeship gets you the APM qualification at the end of it. It's included. Now, most organisations are still going to have to pay the bursary, the levy, the apprenticeship levy. So you could not only get your APM qualification, but you can get the apprenticeship. It means you've got to have time off to be able to do it, and it means you apply it to your job in terms of delivering it. The apprenticeships are a really, really great route to funding both the qualifications and the experience. So I definitely recommend that as a starting point. If you want to have a chat about that, put a comment in and we will follow that up. We're a little bit over. Anything else? We've got a question. Who would we get in touch with to develop apprenticeships? Note we're in Scotland. So Abu, if you're on, or if any of the Scotland network is on, can you put your name in the chat? Also, if you check the documents below, there's one that has the map. On there is Abu and his contact details. If you get in touch with him, he can add it to that network discussion and talk about apprenticeships and how the Scotland organisations can access that as well. We're out of time, and sorry for running over a little bit. We will get the other 2 questions answered and we'll get them to you. But thank you so much for joining us this morning. We hope it's been both informative and interesting and also motivational, because a lot of amazing things have been done by you. Because this is a voluntary community, everybody has played a part and continues to play a part. And please do continue to play your part now by getting involved in all the things that we currently have available. Disseminate them in your organisation, share them with colleagues, raise awareness, and also, if you can, see if you can contribute a little bit of seed funding to help us move to that next level and get this sustainable and help us to grow the profession and the professional standing across the NHS. Henry, any last word from you?
Oh, just to say, Joe, a massive thank you to your team. I don't want to embarrass you, but it's really, really inspirational to see the amount of efforts and passion you put into developing this alongside the rest of your team. And, you know, I'm hugely grateful. I know other people are grateful. It sometimes goes unsaid, so I'm saying it. And to everyone else, have a brilliant day. It's great to see so many people here, and look forward to the next chapter in this book, the next stage of this journey.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And have a great day, everybody, and see you at the party at the end.